You might be insinuating something, Ken.
I'm sure she is. Mr. Noel, I understand. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Thank you there. Mr. Noel has taken the plunge. Love makes a fool out of all of us.
Hey, 37 years, I didn't think it'd ever happen.
Ladies, he's off the market. Your greens are crushed.
Not mine, now there's no returns.
Mr. Noel has committed marriage.
Yeah, Candace you know Candace. Pratt, the judge.
It's only good in Kansas.
Yeah, she married him.
Anyway, now you can enjoy some of the same experiences that we do. The rest of us great guys.
He's got a good one.
Look,
He
look,
keeps her
look.
in
I
the-
still get to do what I want for the most part. There's just more complaining about it.
She keeps him in mind. She's good. She's a keeper.
No, it's got to be married for long. It's got to develop selective hearing, you know.
Oh, I already got that, so I'm good.
Plan on that.
I don't know. He got hearing aids after he got with her.
Sam, I can't hear you.
He got hearing aids too, so now he can hear her. That was stupid.
No, I just forget to put them in all the
2,
time.
3, 4. Good evening, all. This is the May
You gotta go.
regularly scheduled meeting of the Turon City Council. And the meeting will call to order, please. What's up first? Who is here?
Dana Brock.
Jeff Burns.
Full green.
Thank you. This is Sumer. Ms. Sumer will not be with us this evening. I think there's a graduation somewhere. 8th grade graduation. I believe her son is graduating. Items on the agenda. To discuss the
I'll
agenda.
transfer later. No. Oh my God, do we get now?
What?
Rental agreement to
Sure.
city clerk. Rental agreement.
Rental agreement. Thank you. I've been married a long time. I have selected very.
I want to make an amendment to the agenda and add attorney-client matters to the executive session, under legal matters, please.
Same executive session.
Yes.
Anything else? Omitted? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda with the added amendments.
Thank you. The agenda is improved or approved, one of those. You have in front of you the April 14th City Commission meeting minutes. They look like this. City Council meeting, excuse me. Take a look at those, please.
Make a motion to approve the April 14th, 2025 minutes.
Second that.
Consensus on that? Thank you. As a comment on legal matters on the second page, it was mentioned that Mr. Zumper moved to help assist knocking down the burned house at 107 East Nebraska with the use of our tractor or backhoe or something just to help knock it down. That didn't turn out to be necessary, but people didn't move on it. And it's down without our assistance, so I think it's a movement in the right direction. You have before you the man-paid bills. Looks like this. On the blue sheet, any questions or comments? Regarding the unpaid bills for the month of May. What is an aquatic weed picker?
I have no idea.
Who can answer this question?
That'd be the maintenance guys.
Maintenance gentleman, you know what an aquatic weed picker is? We seem to have bought one.
That's spray for the lagoons.
It's chemicals?
Yeah.
Thank you. And where did it go? Oh, it's $441 worth of chemicals. Any questions or discussions?
I'll come in correctly now.
Yes, so because we've been with them a year now, the mats have gone up a little bit, that's why it's 47 now. Because it was 45. Yeah. But since we've been a year now, they've upped the price on the mats a little bit.
How do they know?
People are calling us. That's good. I guess.
Questions about the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Second.
Under the mayor's commentary, I had some items listed, but I see most of them show up down below under other reports. We do need to take a position on our audit and get that process started. And we have a bid, an estimate to consider in that regard. I'm recommending getting the books audited. We have a couple of bids on this little windmill project out here, and Ms. Michaela is actually in receipt of the check from the Hutchinson Community Foundation for $7,500. She has it in hand. There's an item, there was an issue with the concrete around the swimming pool on the north side of the pool. I think the maintenance guys will discuss that with us. That really needs to be fixed before swimming season is here. It's got some sharp edges on it. Before kids are running around there with bare feet, we're going to have to get some action on that. So Mr. Joplin will not be here this evening. He had some questions about the property issues. We'll get to those in due course of time as well. So that's pretty much my report. Any questions about any of that? Going once, going twice. Moving on, guest speakers. Who all do we have for guest speakers? Mr. Tony Grant.
Yes.
Would you like to be a guest speaker? Would you like to be the first?
That'd be fine.
Come right up here. I don't hear well, so you have to use your outdoor voice.
That sounds good. Could I stand over there and have a little presentation?
Wherever you're most comfortable, but don't
I
get too
have to-
far away because I can't hear you.
I have to hit the enter button here. So,
Okay.
so thank you. First of all, thank you for being a McGuire Water Tower customer. I've been speaking with Urban in regards to future maintenance, inspections and stuff of the water tower. He, I believe last month, presented to you an overall general view of our maintenance program and asset management program. And so I'm here today to talk about that. Just want to take just a little bit to talk about who we are as far as McGuire. 100-year-old plus company, been owned by the same family since the early 50s.
Where do you work out of?
Based out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Thank you.
We have a facility in the Waco area as well. We do 200 plus paint jobs a year. We manage, inspect over 600 tanks and manage roughly over 1,000 water towers throughout the Midwest. And we have a new state-of-the-art facility in Sioux Falls for manufacturing of water towers. So obviously there's me, I'm the Kansas Regional Manager, and Janie is our Regional Sales Vice President there. These are the type of tanks that we deal with. Obviously yours, I believe you probably went from this to this, which is a sphere. Your tower, this is just stuff about our new tank division. If you got a new tank, you won't need one for a while. These are in-house company crews. We have 8 and on the maintenance side that do paint jobs, do repairs, washouts, and steel crews as well. We do all of our own in-house engineering as well. Should KDHE require things like that, we do all that in-house on the maintenance side. These are just some of the individual services that we offer. Obviously, when you're working 100 feet up plus in the air, we got to commit to safety. We recently did an inspection on your water tower. Just going to show a few photos. It was built in 2020, so everything looks good and is performing as expected. When we look at tanks, these are the conditions that we look at to meet KDHE's approval. Here's the exterior of your tank. This is looking on top. There's your vent. There's the access that you climb up through the dry riser in the tank. Here's the roof hatch over here that you would get into the water area. So all of this is dry riser. There's an inlet pipe or an inlet and an outlet pipe in there. There's the painter's hatch there that we can come out. Here's looking in. Everything's looking really good. Here's your water. This was in service. We've got our safety cable climb on the interior ladder that goes down. But kind of here's the roof area. That would be your roof hatch. So everything looks good in there. So we offer 3 different plans in regards to inspections. We offer a service agreement, which just takes care of inspections. KDHE's document is Chapter 6 of their for water storage tanks. And in that language, they indicate that water storage structures should be drained, cleaned, and inspected every 2 years. So that's what we do with this. This is a contract for service. So we define the scope of work and we perform whatever that contract is for that performance scope of work. Then we have a McGuire maintenance plan or an asset management plan to help take care of the water towers. Water towers are very, in this application, they're very predictable in regards to how the coatings perform on the interior and the exterior. With a new tank, you generally get 3 to 5 years longer performance of those coating systems because some of that coating system was done in the manufacturing facility with controlled environment. Then some of it was applied in the field. So in a water storage application in this area of Kansas, your exterior tank coatings on a new tank typically perform roughly 20 years, and then they get overcoated. When it's 100% field applied with your particular type of coating system, which is urethane coating system, you get roughly 12 to 15 years when it's 100% fill applied. On the interior, which is the bowl area, not the interior dry, the interior wet area, it gets 20 years as well with a new tank. After that, that gets blasted, zinc primer, stripe coat on the seams, and repainted. That typically gives roughly a 15-year life expectancy. That life expectancy comes from National Association of Corrosion Engineers. It comes from our over 100 years of experience, and that's how we define and work out an asset management program based off of that. That's how we come up with what it costs and everything. So an asset management program is a proactive approach. Again, the coatings are very predictable how long they're going to last. Today, if you had to repaint your tank on the interior wet and the exterior, you'd be spending around $140,000. 70 interior, 70 exterior. Your tank is roughly 5 years old. So in roughly 15 years, it's going to get painted on the exterior, overcoated, and blasted on the interior wet and recoated. How you manage that is all totally up to you. Again, today $140,000. You put inflation to that. That's where our maintenance program comes up, so that you're not paying a lump sum of, let's say, $160,000 in 15 years. You're paying it annually, managed with a budget system annually, and then all of the coatings are 100% warranty. So you don't care if it doesn't last 15 more years. If it only lasts 12 more years and it needs painted, it gets painted. Your annual amount that you pay that year is what you pay. Don't pay any more. So there's a lot of risk and liability that is taken off of Turon and put on McGuire. So these are just some of the things that it includes. Includes all of your inspections. Again, so visually we'll inspect it every other year, and then we drain it and inspect the interior every other year. Or we work with Urban and decide what works out best for you. Whether that's, water quality, we want to look at that. So if everything's looking pretty good, maybe we drain it every third year, but we inspect it every year. Do visual, drain. Or we can do an ROV if we need to. So there's just a lot of things that this covers in regards to anything KDHE changes. Their latest revision for water storage tanks is 2008. I've heard Dan Clare mention a number of times that they need to get that revised. They need to get it updated. And when they do revisions at EPA and standard state levels, those tend to get more stringent than less stringent. So that takes care of all of that. It includes everything from grade level up. What it doesn't include would be the inlet pipe. So the inlet pipe is insulated, it's wrapped, it has water moving in and through it, and it's not something that we can maintain. An inlet pipe typically gives you roughly a 50 to 60 year life expectancy, and then they get replaced. And so we don't put that into a maintenance plan. We manage that. We understand what those life expectancies, that was going to be here when that needs to be replaced. And it just gets replaced at that time. So that's just something that's not included. Your logos are included on there. They'll get punched and replaced as is. And the coating system, again, will stay intact. The maintenance plan is to keep the infrastructure in its current condition, not letting it degrade or depreciate. And so that's what that looks like. Any questions in regards to the service plan itself? Any of this? I wanted to pull up the proposal itself. I changed just a few things. So you guys saw what I would consider as a rough draft of this. And one of the things that we needed to change was the capacity was inaccurate. It had 100. So I've got that at 75. We did do an inspection already this year, which was included as part of the warranty. So I've got this agreement would start in 2026 as far as the next service. Should you approve, want to go with this plan, the day you sign, you're part of the maintenance program. So if something would happen at the end of the summer, during the winter, it's covered. We would come and make those repairs or any fixes that would be needed. So there's the language. We've got some of the things I wanted to point out, what we will do. So there's your interior drive renovation. There's the inspections. This is the scope of work that would be performed. We've got an exterior pressure wash. So roughly on this particular type of tank, condensation and stuff form on the belly. You get wind, you get dust and stuff and things, and algae can grow. So we will make sure that it gets cleaned up. Roughly in between the schedule is roughly in between exterior renovations. So when it goes to 15, every 12 to 15 years, it would get exterior washed every 6 to 7. Right now, we've got that scheduled at about at 10. But if it needs it, again, we would perform that work as well.
That was the exterior.
Correct. To make sure that it's not getting dirt and all that.
During how frequently are you with the interior?
So on the interior, again, for the first service, the interior and the exterior would be at the same schedule, which would be at 20 years. So your tower was built in 2020, so we would be looking at 2040, it would get interior and exterior renovated. So that cost, again, for the plan, showing 4 years, exterior pressure wash there would be at 13,000 for next year. And then there is calculation or inflation calculated in here. It's capped at 5%. So if you have a situation as we have, with inflation last year and the year before, where inflation rose high, you are completely covered in regards to this plan cannot go up more than 5%. Typically it goes up in that 3.5 area to 4, but it's capped at 5%. So it can't go up any more than 5%. And that's what these 4 years are showing. Again, so this is a plan where you manage that 140,000 now, 20 years, 15 years, 160,000. You manage it this way in lieu of waiting till you get there and it's 160,000. It's 170,000. It needs other repairs. It needs other things going on. Again, this will keep it in its current condition. Today, I can't remember what you paid in 2020, but today that water tower is roughly $1.1 to $1.2 million. Brand new. 100,000 gallons. So we want to protect it. We want to keep it in its current condition. We want to keep the coatings on the interior good for water quality purposes, and keep the tower in its current condition. And that's what the plan is drafted to do. Think of anything else. Were there any questions that came up last meeting that I could answer, or that you asked me to come back? At least that's what Erden said. Did you like the plan? Do you like the idea of a maintenance program managed annually in lieu of trying to budget or do that on your own or find that in a lump sum, 10, 12, 15 years down the road?
Because also with you guys doing the service plan, you are liable for it to stay in compliance.
That is correct. Yes, a KDH, like I said, if KDHE, because they're going to revise that document here soon, and anything that changes in that document, let's say the size of the vent that's on here, the screens, something on there, then we would be responsible to make that change, and it wouldn't change this amount that you have to pay in.
And
To
we
be
don't have to
covered.
pay for it.
Nope,
It would be in the service.
it's part of that plan. You would be paying for it. You'd be paying for it right there.
Right, but nothing happens.
Nope, nothing added. You would have no surprise costs. Other than, like I said, again, in 50 years, the inlet pipe. Other than that, there isn't really anything on a water tower that could fail. It's just the maintenance, the painting, and things like that are very expensive, and they're not going to get cheaper in the future. This is a tool, this is a solution to help you manage it annually versus, again, proactive versus reactive. You have a water tower, it's brand new, I'm sure you want to keep it. You know what the paint costs are today, you know what you paid for it. You can put the numbers to it just like I can and figure inflation and what that might be. Whether you do it on your own, I've done this enough times, whether you do it on your own and you're like, Tony, we don't want to do the inspection with you, but we think we can manage this ourselves. And we're going to put back money annually. That's great. You're going to pay about the same amount. It's really close. But what you haven't done is you haven't shifted that risk and liability to us. Because if that coating does fail in 12 years, then you have to come up with that cost of paintings. And the maintenance plan is covered.
You work in a number of states, are the regulations from state to state reasonably similar?
Yes, yes, that's a good question. Every state is different. Colorado, you have to inspect the tank every single year, but only every 5 years does it need to be drained and inspected. So every state is different, where Kansas is every 2 years. And it only says drained and cleaned out and inspected. It doesn't say dive inspected, it doesn't say OV inspected. I'm not telling you that they typically write people up for that, but that's what the language says. And so our responsibility and my responsibility is to communicate what that is, how that was interpreted by KDHE, and then that's how we incorporated it into our programs.
My apologies to the council, it's not really a point that affects us. That's not really a point of effect, that's, I was just curious.
Yep.
Curious about that.
Yeah.
So our annual cost from this program would be what?
For next year, for the first year, would be 13,000.
And that goes for how many years?
Well, this is an
Working
evergreen.
against the.
Yep, this is an evergreen contract. It's an evergreen contract, so it renews every year. You have a 3-month grace period. In Kansas, I'm sure other states, you can't lock future cancels into long-term agreements. So this is an evergreen contract and it renews every year. Obviously, if you get 10 years down the road, I would advise, you're not happy. Let's say you're not happy. I would say, well, I understand you're not happy. Let's see what we can do to repair that part of it, that relationship. But you're getting ready to get your tank painted, so don't cancel. After that, if someone's not happy with the program, something changes, that's the time you typically cancel. Again, this is an asset management program that helps you budget those large expenditures or those large lump sum costs for critical infrastructure annually in lieu of a lump sum type cost.
Is the company bonded for?
Yes.
Problems? Seems to me we're living in perilous times. I don't know what's going to happen in the business climate. Companies enter business and go out of business every day. So we could pay in for 10 years and you guys might all zip off to Tijuana and have a good time. So
there is risk in everything.
yeah.
Obviously, in my opinion, my experience, that risk is low. Again, it's a company that is over 100 years old, has been owned by the same family with third generation coming up in it. We can provide financials that show the history of the company and things like that. I think that's, again, a due diligence type process. We are bonded. I can provide a performance bond. We can do all of that. We're insured. We provide that with for our customers, definitely. We've got a number of, we've got several customers. The city of Frankfurt, which is north of Manhattan area, we've been painting their tanks since as far back as I can see as the late 60s. And they signed on this maintenance program about 4 years ago. And I had all the history of all the times that we painted their tanks. And it was, again, follow that every 10 to 12 on the exterior, every 15 on the interior. And so they were managing it great, but they just never had the benefit and the value of the maintenance program. And so I showed them what that looked like, and again, it just mirrored what they had been doing, and so they signed, with us. But McGuire has been painting water towers in the state of Kansas since the 60s at least, that I know of. I started in the water tower industry, water tank industry in 1988. And so I've worked for McGuire since 2018. I've known of them. I haven't worked for them, obviously, since 1988, but they have always been a company that has a great reputation and history, and a company that stands behind their workmanship and their quality.
Another question. We have to have it inspected every other year?
On the plan, we inspect it every year. As it relates to KDHE in my truck, their Chapter 6 water storage tank, their language indicates every 2 years.
Okay. Do you have any idea what it costs to have an inspection done just every 2 years?
Yes, that we charge $21.75.
To inspect
To do a drain inspection or a visual inspection or an RFP inspection.
exterior or interior?
It's full. It would cover all of those 5 requirements that we have to do. Structural, sanitary, security, safety, coatings. It would cover all of those, interior and exterior.
More questions for Mr. Grant?
What do you think of the plan? Is that Is that something you believe in, you like, you don't like? The maintenance is obviously very expensive. You're a little ways away from it, which is good. The most economical time to get on the maintenance program is either when the tank is initially built, or soon after, or when it's just been renovated. There isn't any other more economical time. Otherwise, you've got upfront renovations that, drive the cost up, and then after that's paid, then you go to what we call the base fee. And this is the base fee is all you would be on, is what we would be charging.
I like the thought of having it budgeted out a little bit like that instead of having to come up with
Pretty much the same as paying a loan payment on having it done.
I mean, if you do the 2175 for 5 years, there's $11,000 just on the inspections.
If you calculate it at 30%, which is the common growth rate, that puts it at like 200 and in 15 years, it could be that 220,000, 140 now. That puts it like $220,000 in 15 years. I think.
Well, the thought of maintenance was good because there's been a lot of things over the years that were not probably properly maintained and we're kind of paying for it.
I've been doing this a long time, and and I'm not saying you haven't. I don't have any idea. I've experienced this where, something that is critical infrastructure, probably the most visible piece of infrastructure in the community, probably the most expensive single one to maintain, and there's some people that don't even have it on their balance sheet, annually to manage the maintenance side of things. So it's a lot. How you guys, we're here to assist you any way you decide, whether that's just doing inspections, whether that's doing a maintenance program, however you guys feel. We'd like to obviously be a part of that, and we can help you manage it however you want. It's totally up to you. This is just a solution to do it. My personal opinion, I think it's justified. I think the value and the benefit of shifting that risk is important. And again, whether you do it on your own or whether you do it with the program, it's pretty close to the same. Would you like to see anything else from me? Would you like me to send that agreement over, and you guys, if you have some other other things you want to discuss amongst yourself?
We didn't have it in our packet tonight, so did we?
Yeah, I just finished it up today.
I'd like to see something
Okay.
with numbers.
Yep. I'll get that over to you, and if you'd like me to come back, I'd be more than happy to. I put 50,000 miles on my truck a year, and I just cover Kansas, so I travel all the time. I'd be more than happy to assist any way I can.
So if we did approve it to start right now, when would we start the payment? Now or next?
2026. Yeah.
When does the tower pay out? We're still paying on the tower, or we're not? On the bond, is that close to paying out?
It's like 40 years, I think.
Yeah.
How many more? 40 more?
No, it's like
35.
35 more.
How many?
It's like 35 more.
35 more.
I think it was 40 total.
As soon as it pays out, we go.
Yeah. Well, and bringing up a good point that I talk about a lot of time. I mean, there's a lot of communities that, you get this 35, 30, 40-year note that you got to pay. And you're doing a very big system, you do a big project, you got a new tower, you did some things, and it's great. But at least you're educated now, or if you didn't, you are now. on what the maintenance is for that piece of infrastructure, because what happens is, that's a large lump sum cost, and you still don't have your 40-year note paid off. And what happens is they just try to kick it down the road even further, because they don't. And then at that time, that drives cost up. There's pitting going on the steel and things like that, and so now there's more work involved in lieu of managing it proactively. But that,
Well, I do think it ought to be inspected.
Yeah.
A couple of years.
I'll send this over to you. You guys chat amongst yourself and talk about it more. Like I said, if you want to come back, I can. If you don't need me to come back, that's fine too. But I'll get it in your hands and look at it.
Thank you.
Any other funding sources to assist with these type of expenses?
Um,
Federal water, which may get wiped out under the present administration.
The thing for maintenance of water tanks, of all of the funding sources and things that I've seen out there, and you got a new water tower, but you did a lot of other things. I'm going to guess. Did you do some other improvements? Water, okay. So all of that, the only time you can get grant money typically is when you have other things going on. Because if all you have is the water tower, and let's say there's a sanitation issue on it. The vent's non-compliant or the overflow, whatever. I've done this many times. There's so many boxes that you have to check to get high enough on the priority list. And you never can check enough boxes if all you need is your water tower painted or you need your overflow fixed or things like that. You just never make it high enough on the priority list to get approved. So typically you don't get funded for maintenance of a water tower.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Is that consensus? You want to see some more information with the proposal with numbers? Right. All right. Thank you. We'll look forward to a bid or proposal from you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yep.
Eddie Green, I saw you out there somewhere. Next up. Please remember that I mostly did.
Kelly Shorts won't be here tonight, but she did send a letter. I'll make you copies because I don't have anything. This is about the food giveaway. First two
You're
cards.
going to have to speak up, young lady. Move it forward about 3 feet.
This is about the food giveaway. The first two columns show you what I can get if and when I get a grant from Midwest Energy for donations. Things on sale. The other column, the last column, is what I can get with the money from the city and from the church, which is $300. I do about 30 boxes, that means like $10 per box. The food bank's been having trouble getting food in. The past 2 months we didn't get anything from them. This month we got some eggs, juice, and bacon. That was all they had. I know a couple in touch that they do donate. Whatever I'm short of, I let them know and go pick it up and bring it down. Shirley Nicely, she pitches in when she's got extra stuff. Arlington will help and they have extra stuff. They have their food giveaway the same day as us. So what they have left over, they bring to us. Sometimes they don't have anything. Most of the time it's just produce and bread. That's the only way we get produce is from Arlington. I drive about 50 miles one way twice a month to find food on discount. Sometimes I do okay, sometimes I don't. The prices keep going up. Right now, I've already dipped into what the city will give me for June because I found some good bargains. I found cereal for $1, it was $4.98. I found custard sauce that was 60 cents. I saved $74 by buying what I just found recently. So like I said, I've already dipped into the June money, but I don't get to June. I talked to the food bank in Wichita. They would want us to be a 501 clear or something, and the senior center doesn't want to get into that. This is basically just what we can do with donations to help the people that we can. So, here is asking for more money.
You saved $74 that you don't have.
Okay.
I know that feeling.
I do an application for Midwest Energy twice a year for a grant. I've only been turned down once. So what they do give me, like I said, that's when I can get some meat for people. Without that, they just get basics. Enough food to give them a few meals a week, you know.
Questions for Ms. Green?
It's school being out now, I'll have people calling me for extra food. You know, they want cereal and stuff like that for the kids.
So what we give you how much?
100.
100 a month.
100. And the church gives me 200.
What's your guys' thoughts?
Gasoline's not gonna get any cheaper anywhere this year.
I'm not
Make
worried
your,
about
make your
that.
trips to obtain the stuff.
Is there, could you put something out, maybe on social media, that you would take donations from individuals?
We have.
You have,
And Jerry Farringfield also put something out for us too. And we haven't gotten anything. I should say that. I did have one person doing some groceries.
you guys are going to, up the budget or no?
And it is all people just in Turon.
Yeah, I noticed that it was, had changed the last few months or so. What's your numbers? Oh, I'm sorry.
We can pay with the dollar receipts that we for every month.
I'd like to see get another 100 because you guys can cash it out, so. That's just my opinion. 90? Everybody else, I guess.
I make a motion that we up the donation for the food giveaway from $100 to $175 per month.
raised to $175.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work. Do you have more questions for us?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, man, for what you do. I appreciate it. I finally did get all the gifts handed out to all the
Okay.
EMS workers and the fire department and stuff. Took me a while because I'm old and forgetful. We finally got them all. Thank you. Thank you, Edie. Mr. Shorts, Kelly Shorts.
It's surely nicely next.
Shirley Nicely's next. All right, Shirley Nicely, are you next? I'm old and deaf, so.
Good, yes.
Okay.
Well, this-
Like you were calling
His
it.
name's not Shirley Nicely either. I'm sure there's not two of us.
I used to be a teacher, so I'll talk loud for you. So.
You didn't talk loud. You were.
He was one of my students, just to have you know how, Anyway, my name is Steve Sears, and this is Shirley Knisley. We're from Plainview Mennonite Church, and if you've ever seen the yellow bus or the white van running around on Wednesday night, we have a jam program, Jesus and Me, and we have that youth program in the old Partridge Grade School is where we meet. Well, I'll let you tell them why we're here.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the city of Turon. You allow us to use the building when we do the Christmas meal here, and that's a huge blessing for us. And you also allow us to come in. We also do food distribution. We're kind of on the heels of Edie. You know, it takes a lot of people to make this work. And so we cover a little wider area. We do Partridge and Sylvia and Arlington, and then we have a few out here. So y'all have been very nice to us to let us come in once in a while and eat lunch when we do that on a Saturday afternoon. So we really appreciate that. We want to say thank you. And so we want to give you a donation tonight for $500 for your pool project, I think, for the kids or whatever you need to use it for. We love to see kids go swimming free, and so that's what this is for. We just want to say
Very kind,
So,
very kind.
good to make everything you guys do for our community also.
I thank you for the Christmas dinner. That was wonderful.
Well, yeah, it's our privilege.
Excellent music and excellent food. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it greatly.
Well, good. Thank you. Hopefully we can do it again.
Yes. The mayor should have mentioned in his report that he took the prerogative of advertising again for donations, hoping to receive donations in favor of free swimming at the pool. So I don't know how that's going, but there have been a few donations received. I don't know what the total is yet, but I think it's still a work in progress. So. Okay, now. Mr. Kelly Shorts is not to be considered this evening. Okay. I'm moving on to water bill hearings. Do we have people present for water bill hearings?
Yes, so, number 160402 is not here.
So we don't have.
160402.
So the only ones we have tonight are the 160402 and the 97s. Well, the 160402 is not here, but they're the only two
Okay,
that I
so
have
and no one is here for these other than, is anyone here?
97 is here.
97? Okay, I don't know who Mr. 97 is, but if he's here and wants to speak, now's the time. Speak right up. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your name and address.
My name is Taylor Davis. Address is 311 North Charles. I just need an extension till Friday to get my bill paid. I'm just having a little bit of family problems going on right now. So
How long an extension would you need?
just till Friday. I get paid on Wednesday, so
What is the council's thinking?
I think that's fine. You just have to have it in the Dropbox. If you don't pay it by Friday, we're not open over the weekend. It just has to be in the Dropbox of the by or paid online.
Okay.
by Monday morning.
I will.
Before Monday morning, yeah, the Dropbox and all that.
Yeah.
They give you just a couple days that we're not open, that you can drop it off or whatever.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another thing is, we do have a H2O program that we kind of push people that can use. It just rounds up to the next dollar, and then you can apply to get help if you ever need it. So it just rounds up to the next dollar, so it might be 50 or 75 cents a month.
Okay, that's fine. I can do that. Thank you.
You can sign, if you want to sign up for something like that, Michaela just has some paperwork that you have to sign up.
Yeah, if you can stop by are you able to stop by my office hours?
I could try.
Or I can mail it.
Okay, that works too.
I can mail it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else with regard to water meetings or water bills?
No, the other person is
Anything
not
else
here.
taken care of?
Do you have the paperwork for
Oh, the, yeah, it's this
the
one.
shut off?
Yeah, it was this one.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Okay, I'm moving on to the treasurer's report. Madam Treasurer, I'm singing your song here.
Okay. I was.
Okay, as of April 30th, the balance of the checking account was $124,929.96, and the balance for the savings account was $53,703.17. So our total cash available is $178,633.13. And the profit and loss statement shows a deficit of $3,704.76. And I did a spreadsheet. It's just it's year-to-date, January through April, to be able to show you where you're at with your budget.
And we have paid the water tower payment. Is usually paid February.
Well, that unpaid bills was their due. Obligation bonds.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay. And the insurance and the taxes we paid. All.
Yeah.
Do you good luck your name on it. What's your name? On the special highway, it's 32. Is that because of the rock that we got came in
I think we
later?
got in January or February.
January? Yeah, it was like 5,000, was it like $5,000 something? I couldn't tell. So I know what it was, guys. You guys remember how much that was?
Yeah, we were trying to get it back.
It was up to $5.
It went on to this year.
Okay. Yeah. That was in there.
What do we pay out of the special parks? Do we pay money out of it?
I don't ever recall paying anything out of that. I don't know if,
You in fact will pay for,
I thought they paid the mowing out of it. They separated all that off. We kept having to put money back in that.
that's possible. You guys, I'd have to look at the maintenance sheets. they break out the library, of course, the library, any money we get in goes right back. The highway, we get state, the regional county. So I think a large part of that was, I don't know. I don't have all that other information on that. But yeah, and that may be for the moment. I think earlier this year, they took some trees out, did they?
Yeah.
So I think that was in there. When you mow the parks, guys, did you put that on the maintenance sheet? Okay. So they're saying that it goes to mow there. Yeah. Trying to picture it burning.
Questions for the treasurer? Questions from the treasurer?
Yeah, it's not quite as detailed as in the past. You know, it doesn't show the month, but I don't know Excel, and until I can get with the tax lady to help me with that spreadsheet, and she's been busy because of taxes. Nothing else, my daddy, right? So,
That's still helpful to be able to see the percentage.
right, yeah, I know you like to see that.
Questions? All right, still in place. Moving on to the city clerk's report and items. Kayla.
So, just bringing up the dumpster, because it's the next month. Are you guys wanting to give that back now, or?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
About the dumpster?
Okay.
What's it, do you know what it cost us the first time that we dumped it?
How much did they say was it after the 2 dumps? Do you remember?
Depends on the weight.
Have they been keeping it pretty full?
Well, we're on our fourth one. We're on our fourth one. So,
No idea what it costs.
I would assume they fill that out, especially we don't have a bill from them that gives us a clue as what they,
No, I don't have a bill yet from
for
them.
any of them. For
Well,
any
we
of
got
the
the first
three?
2 free.
I'm sorry?
We got the first 2 free,
Okay.
so I haven't gotten a bill
Got
for
no
these
bill
next
for the
2.
third one yet.
So,
You want to keep it another month?
We never took any action on establishing a cleanup weekend either. That might require another dumpster.
I'd say we're getting too late in the year right now to do it.
Could be.
It's gonna be hot. And then it's close to harvest. So we better wait till fall before we do that.
Obviously, let's pick it up and then bring it back later on. Longer.
I think we ought to just keep it till let it fill this time, dump it one, and then dump it one time after that and be done with it. It'd be around a few more, probably.
That sounds good to me. So we'll keep it till around June 1st.
You need a motion because it does cost money. Go ahead.
I make a motion that we keep the dumpster until June 1st.
I second that.
Aye.
Aye.
Didn't do that, right?
I probably did.
Next item has to do with the countertop in the dining room. I assume you're talking about that for the budget.
This time and the next time we do that. Not actually June first, but then it may or may
Oh,
not.
I need to amend that motion, I'm sorry. We're gonna have it for 2 more dumps. So it probably will not be
That'll be
June
the 4th and the 5th.
They're gonna dump the dumpster 2 more times. That's
1st.
all.
And then they're gonna take.
We're on the 4th one, if not full. Is that one of the dumps?
Yeah,
So one more after this one.
yeah, after the fifth dump, no more.
Or you said 2 more.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine, so-
Need another, I need a second.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, countertop in the cafeteria. Gentleman behind you.
Linda, excuse me, Linda Brown came to me, I guess for Angie, basically. The countertop over here, you know, it had the little peel and stick tiles forever, and they were coming up, so they took them off. They tried putting down some cabinet liner, I guess. It didn't work out. So the other day, she put down some wallpaper. It's just not gonna work very well. I said maybe they needed to come in and ask to see about getting a new countertop. The city put the new countertop on there.
Why do they keep doing stuff without coming to the city first?
Well, I don't know. I don't know that.
Did they come and talk to you guys before?
Is there a proposal by Micah or some top of the?
Before they did anything?
Use these days for countertop material? No.
I mean, if we can find something else that will work besides buying a new countertop, that's fine, but what we've got going on now is not gonna last.
Yeah, but why did they touch it?
Well,
It's the second thing.
so unless you want to speak with, the main guys at Friendship Meals, I don't know.
I would say their main guy from Friendship Meals needs to be at the next meeting.
They also asked about, I guess there's stuff underneath the counters, odds and ends, coffee cups, games. They didn't know if they could get rid of those.
What's the question? Should it be discarded or is it?
They wanted to know if they could discard the stuff that was underneath the cabinet.
I've never
Could be literature. What's under
Use
there?
that.
They said they used one section of it, I don't know which section. They said they have one section that they put things in, and the other two just have random items that don't get used. So do you want to wait until your visit with Friendship Meals? Okay, I'll just tell them that it was put on hold then. That's,
I come into Friendship Meals, I'll talk to Angie. Any more discussion about the countertops? Moving on. Rental.
Yeah.
Ms. McKay, news.
So, I had you add rental agreement, and apparently I already had it on there, so I apologize for that, but I missed it. But, so there's been something come up for the rental agreement for the tables and chairs where I feel like we need to amend it to put in the cost for the tables and chairs. Because apparently there was a miscommunication where someone rented them, but then didn't, because in here it doesn't say you have to pay for it, they misunderstood. So I don't know, can we change it to where we just put that in? Well, just for future, like, that way it's kind of plain black and white.
So you just want to add in the cost of renting the chairs and the cost of renting the tables?
Yes.
So it's all there
Yes.
in the agreement?
Because that way, like, we don't have this confusion again.
Did you have a question also about the renting it one day, but
Oh, yes, that's why I put that. Yes. So, but yeah, so I'd like to, if you guys are okay with putting that in here, if, it's okay with Danny, I would like to do that.
I'm okay with that. That way it's all clear. What are you looking for, Dave?
Funded.
He's all well.
So some stuff on the agenda be, I think it'd be good to just have the whole breakdown on here.
Because on a reservation form it does, but on this it doesn't.
Yeah, and how many people look to see a reservation form before signing a rental?
Well, this is only like if they're renting the tables and chairs and like they're taking them. Do I need a consensus for that then, or is it just, we'll just do it?
Updated and get it sent to you.
Okay.
And then we'll pass that as a resolution.
I don't think we need to. I think I can
Because
just.
the wording's gonna be the same, it's just gonna update with the pricing on it.
Add a line or add a fee for the tables. and
Yeah, I
chairs.
thought I'd add a link for the renting, however many tables at the rate of however many dollars per table, however many chairs.
I don't know, is that agreeable with the
Yeah.
council? Thank you. That's on your list of things to do?
Yeah.
And then my other question about the rentals. I have someone wanting to rent the kitchen, but they want to rent it for one day, but then come back the next day to clean it. So would I have to have them pay for 2 days, or would it
We
just
talked
be?
about this earlier on, that if they were gonna be in here 2 days, they gotta pay for 2 days.
Okay, I thought we had, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to remember.
Yeah.
What did we decide, 2 days? That's 2 days?
Because we had people coming in the night before setting parties up and not using it. That we're only paying for Saturday, but they actually weren't, they were having Friday through Sunday.
So they have to decorate and be in there the same day, and clean up and all that. Okay. I just want it clear so when I tell them.
I mean, they don't have to do that. I mean, they can pay for 2 days and clean up the day.
And then they can have more fun.
That's what I mean, is they have to pay.
Talk to me about the bucket guys.
So, I did call them about the mosquito spraying. However, he said that it'll be a little more than it was last year, but he didn't have a precise number, and we paid about, I want to say it was $220 or $250 last year for the mosquito spraying, but he hadn't gotten back to me yet.
That was per time, wasn't it? Not per month. I think it was per trip.
Yeah, I think he only did it one. I think, yeah, it was for one. I mean, we only paid him for one time for it, I believe. I could be wrong. I didn't look at that part because I was waiting for him to get back to me. But so I was going to present that to
And
you
you
guys,
said
but I don't have
it was 220 last time?
I want to say it was like 225 to 250. It was one of those.
Make a motion, we go ahead and let the bug guy spray for mosquitoes as long as it's under 300 and we'll reassess at the June meeting.
I'll second that.
Aye.
Aye.
will spray at least once. Does that cover more times?
Once,
Once?
to get us into June, as long as it's under $300, and then we'll reassess at the June meeting.
Okay.
Because you didn't have a price for us, so.
So I just set a price line that if it was under that, we can go into it.
If it's too high, why we'll let the bugs bite and all this.
And that's all I have.
Thank you. Moving on. Mr. Lynch, what's the big news?
Welcome to hearing on them, are they?
So it's what I had called you about. They were planning to come, but then they called me today and said they were not feeling well. But it's about,
It's on a vehicle.
yeah, that is insured but doesn't have a tag.
And this is, kind of leads into what I wanted to start talking to you guys on, is on the junk motor vehicle ordinance. Talked to James a little bit about this. I don't know that we hit an agreement, but if it's something we're gonna enforce, and start giving out the notices, getting the municipal court, I wanna make sure I'm on the same page as you guys on how much we're pushing that. Right now, the ordinance prohibits the vehicle which is not currently registered or tagged, vehicle that's parked in a violation of the city ordinance, a vehicle that's incapable of moving under its own power, or in a junk, wrecked, or inoperable condition. Maybe it's missing one or more parts necessary, it's up on blocks, something like that. So, I guess I'm asking you guys for guidance on, I don't know how big an issue this is in town, if this is something you want us focusing on, kind of what direction you want us to go on that.
Well, I think, isn't it a law that they cannot be parked on the street with no tags or insurance?
I think
law enforcement then, not us.
it's a state law and it's a municipal ordinance as well. My guess is the sheriff's office answer is gonna be, if they're not driving it without tags or insurance or registration, it's just sitting there, I don't think they don't do a whole lot. I think they say go back to your city ordinance on that.
I'm afraid what's gonna happen is if we start pushing that, then we'll just start parking them in the yard. And then we'll have
Well,
You
and
had
that-
a council before that allow
junk yards.
approved people to keep vehicles without a problem.
On the street or in the yard?
Well, in the yard, I know. On the street, I don't know.
well, and they can't put it in the yard unless it's in a garage or it's behind a fence.
That's what I was gonna
Otherwise,
say next.
That's
It's-
a violation.
It was supposed to be, if they had them in the yard, they were supposed to be behind an approved, I believe, fence. Not just willy-nilly in your yard.
For what it's worth, my opinion is I'd rather have them on the street than in the yard. But there are times when we need to do street maintenance or street repairs, and they might conceivably be in the way. What are you gonna do then? If the owner is absent or not at home, or if
You wouldn't think it'd be that
something
hard
comes
to
up,
keep.
something comes up on an emergency basis, and I get to the gas line or something. You don't want to impede fire vehicles or ambulances or.
You know, and I don't have a problem with somebody having one or two that they're working on or whatever, but when you get 7 or 8 sitting around, it's kind of out of hand, I think. But I'd also like to see that if they're actually keeping them to work on, I'd like to actually see them being worked on. Not just saying, oh, well, I'm working on this one, it's been 15 years and it's still sitting there.
We're still working on it.
Yeah.
We had a conversation with Mr. Mills a couple of days ago about how many could be counted on probably both hands that don't want to be sitting in the streets for a long time.
You know, I'm fine pursuing it, I guess. You know, I don't want to send out notices, send out court summons, you know, get a bunch of people coming in angry at you guys and give you a response from you guys. What do you do? You know, leave that alone. So. Well, that's the other thing, because there's two ways to go about it. You can go through the abatement process, that involves towing the vehicle, holding it, giving notice and trying to get rid of it. I think that costs the city money. The flip side is we can file in the municipal court and ask for a $100 fine for each day that it's sitting there. And I think that's a more, in the city's end, a more efficient way to deal with it, to go through it, is to go through court rather than through the abatement. And then make that more efficient, it makes sense to do them all at once, so we're paying the judge one time to come out here and not coming out for, two cases at a time, or 1, 3 cases at a time. Get them all set together.
If it's not really causing a problem, what are we doing? Are we just picking on some people, or is it really a problem?
Well, some of them can look as bad as some burnt down houses. It's just an ugly sight, some of them. I know there's one right now that's being used as just packed full of who knows what. You know, rats like to live in things like that.
Well, that's what I said. Is it a problem, or that's kind of a problem?
I think there are some problems, yes.
So it's pretty hard to pick and choose. You gotta prove what the problem is.
Well, if it's not registered or tagged or insured.
They have to be registered or insured or tagged.
Well, the statute says registered or tagged. I think I would focus more on the ones that are in pieces or
Right.
Because I got a monster truck that at the moment it's not registered or tagged, but it's no longer a vehicle, it's an off-road. And then you got, if you start having a drag car that you don't register or tag, that may sit all winter and then move in the summer times.
I don't know how we can get around it, but if we just start letting them pile up,
No, I
it's gonna be
agree.
a big mess.
Where do you draw the line?
I don't know where we're going to line.
So they get the court, they get the notice, and then once they get the notice, they can ask for a hearing in front of you guys. They can correct the condition themselves, or they can do nothing, and then it ends up going to court. So,
My big deal is I want to be seen, and I was going to say this, and I'm sad that he's not here. I don't want to be blindsided no more about people being mad about a vehicle or something. It used to, every complaint except for grass mowing and stuff used to come to the city council back when I started on this council. And why it doesn't anymore is because the clerk just decided to stop that. You guys not?
well, and I think these could be useful if we have the addresses. We can bring pictures to you guys and say, here's 1, 2, 3.
See, that's what I think.
Here's a violation here, and then, figure out, you're saying where's that line? To me, it's a lot easier looking at a picture or having something like that. You'll say, okay, that's.
So we have some kind of proof.
Yeah.
So,
Because I did do some looking, because he is trying to push fines and stuff, he does technically have to be bonded and insured. He does not work for the city, he's not, all of our other employees are listed on the insurance by name, right? Like the city guys and stuff, they're all listed on workman's comp. He is not an employee, he has to carry his own insurance. If he is going out and about. Because we're not liable for So if he's gonna be out and going out and giving out fines and stuff, or having vehicles move and stuff, he's actually liable for the actions he takes.
He becomes an independent contractor.
Because he gets paid once a month. He's not hourly.
He has no benefits, he has no,
He's not under our.
does he need to be? We should do
I
that.
think it's probably a question for our insurance carrier too. What do they think?
I know I did do some more looking on that. Other towns.
And like I said, I talked to him some about this. I don't know that we agreed on anything, but I'm happy to take this conversation, have another one with James and see how he feels about that. But to me, that process makes sense to bring the reports to you guys, figure out what we want to do with them.
And we asked for that back when he started, and then he wouldn't follow it. And if we're not gonna follow that, I think we need to look for a different process.
I had a conversation with Jonathan last week. I think you raised some of the same questions with me, that he's kind of concerned about where we're going with this, and some things he thought that would take an action on right now have gotten bogged down and not taken action on, so I guess we need to ponder again about our procedure and what procedure we intend to follow, both with Mr. Lynch and on the legal. Are we bogged down in legalities, or are we bogged down in just not being ready to take action for us, for the council, not being ready to pursue? Mr. Joplin says he'll go and do inspections, but he's kind of wondering if
He can't do inspections.
he will go and do what he thinks his job is obligates him to do, but and write reports. But if he's just looking around and writing reports,
So, and part of it is, when we get the abatement process, that is slow on my end. So I've got one that I've got tonight that I don't have good proof of service, but it's under the environmental code. And so that starts out with, he gives them the original notice, they either fail to correct it or request a hearing. Then, under the statute, or the ordinance, the council's got to pass a resolution to abate it, which having that meeting a month, there can be a big lag there. And then under that one too, there's another 20 days after that resolution gets passed before it can be abated. So you can hit 50 days from the time he turns in the violation until something actually happens. So all in all, that part, that can be slow.
You got all those legal timelines that you have to follow.
Yeah.
There is a house that I know that there's a ton of people living in that we don't have water and sewer.
No, I think I've seen less citizen complaints come in lately than what we had before. I don't know if that's.
Have we filed like?
I've seen less.
I do have one complaint, and I was in the middle of talking with the county on this, and they didn't know how to handle it yet. We went to a structure fire, and there's a blind deaf dog. There was a lot going on that day. The dog bit me at the fire when we were leaving the fire. I would like to see a letter sent to the people that it just needs to not be tried by the road anymore. Because they tried on the edge of the street.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm after it because it's a blind, deaf dog. Maybe it's not an aggressive dog. Don't know that it's been aggressive. Maybe they just need a letter that it should not be tied next to the intersection.
I think that would be good to document. Generally, the rules, the dog gets one bite. And after that, the owners all notice that potentially this animal is dangerous. And so if we document that we're clearly on notice at that point.
There was a lot going on that day though too.
And, you know, that's what set it off. You know, hopefully it never happens again, but at least this was.
Well, I'm sorry, it's always chain where you either can get to the road or can get to the alley. Because we had an issue, it was last summer or the summer before, the kids couldn't walk down the alley to go to grandma's house because that dog was there and they didn't know the dog. So, I mean, it needs to be put a little more.
Should send them a letter that, or some kind of notice that. I don't even know how to word that.
Yeah, it's a, it can't be chained up where it can get to the public street alleys.
Public right of ways. Have we sent out a bunch of mowing complaints yet?
I don't know, I haven't seen any of those.
Well, that's kind of what I had heard is we hadn't, and I didn't talk to you about that, but
I've only gotten one complaint about mowing.
So if he's gonna pick and choose about, we told him to get all the mowing complaints out. Well, there's at least 10 properties already over 2 foot tall. And we're picking on vehicles that really aren't hurting anything, but man, there are some yards that are bad. So we're gonna have to wait another 30 days on some of these almost, by the time the process goes through. You guys send the letter and
The mowing, it's a little quicker, I think it's 10 days, if they don't fix it or actually here within 10 days, then it can proceed. It's not as,
some of that's getting pretty wild and he ain't done nothing wrong. And we approved him to do this. Asked him to bring other stuff to the council and so I don't like that he's not listening. It worked for me if you look for a new job.
Further questions for Mr. Lynch?
Well, my questions are about it. My questions are about it.
Okay, good.
So about that, so I have a resident who got an ordinance violation about the vehicle in her yard. It is insured, but she does not have it tagged because it doesn't get driven. So she does have it insured. She said if she absolutely had to, she would tag it. And it does need, she just needs to put a new tire on it, but she wanted to know if, like, she has to do that.
I would say, tell her we passed her here in the next month's meeting. And that we're taking up the unused vehicles as a whole at that point too. Is that fair saying that?
She's just been super worried about it because, you know, she's gonna get in trouble. But
I think we need proof that there's a problem, that that vehicle is causing a problem, safety or health or something.
Mr. Lynch, do you feel you have adequate instruction from the council regarding pursuing the issues that have been raised?
I do, other than the executive session. With that.
How long do you need?
Okay, with it, 10 minutes, 15, 10. 10 with attorney, counsel, mayor, and clerk. For attorney-client.
I make a motion to go into executive session for attorney-client, thanking the council, mayor, attorney, and clerk for
10 minutes.
Second.
Aye.
Flappers on today, huh?
Well, I think it's going faster than I thought it would. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Huh?
What are you doing?
I'm going outside.
You are? We're going outside a little bit.
guess I'm late, huh?
Better late than never.
Are they in executive session?
Yeah.
What are they deciding on?
I have legal matters that are hearing is on. Well, come on and sit down. There's a pamphlet up there if you need it.
Where's that?
Up there on the counter. We're at legal matters right now. That'd be the agenda for May 12th. And the other one up there is what's been said last time. You didn't miss much. You kind of know actually.
How are you?
Tired. Lighting my sugar.
Putting sugar.
And I feel my sugar levels dropping because I'm not eating properly either. And that's my fault.
It's hard to eat properly out here on the plains.
Well, I get busy and I just forget to eat. Property manager's not here. I guess they're coming back.
We'll get back in session. Executive session ended with no action taken there.
Before we leave legal matters, there is a house with no water and sewer. Does that fall under?
Yeah, that's the minimum housing code, you gotta be hooked up to water and sewer.
They still don't have water and sewer.
It has to be turned on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gotta be,
On price?
On one side?
Yeah, they were using someone else for, but no, they do not have utility from us.
okay, if you shoot me that address, I can get it.
There's also other issues with that address. Have you seen what's going on?
I've heard all about what's going on where I'm talking about, I don't know where you're talking about.
Are we finished with legal matters? I had my discussion with the
Oh,
property officer.
I got one more legal matter to ask. I was gonna do it under government. So like Arlington takes in bids for people to mow yards.
What, on the abatement?
The overgrown yards and stuff. People bid by the hour what they would charge to mow. And they have to have proof that they have a certain amount of insurance or stuff to be able to do that. Is that something we could look at, so we weren't putting that all on the city guys?
Yeah, I'd be curious to look at their, how their ordinance is set up on that.
Could we have Michaela reach out to them and see if they will share some information on that? Because they do have people that just bid to get mowing jobs. Arlington? People bid to get mowing jobs for the city of Arlington.
Yeah, we probably just have to update our ordinance a little bit.
And actually, they don't, sometimes the city of Arlington uses them to mow parks and stuff, not just. So that might be a good, because Bobby used to mow for us, and I know Gene mows for us, but might be a good option that we need to look into, instead of using our mower all the time.
Does that conclude your questions?
Yeah.
Any more questions for legal counsel? All right, still in place. Moving on, maintenance report. Gentlemen, who would like to be first? First shall be last, and the last shall be first, or something like that.
You're not first, you're last.
Yes.
You want to start off with a good problem first?
Speak up, go in, because I'm deaf tonight.
Had a state nitrate sample here about a month ago, well forward, getting up to the limit. They're at the limit now. So we'll have to resample whenever I get the bottle. We're not out of compliance here, we're not over the limit, but we're right at it.
Well, forest in the park.
Yeah. So I'll let you pass that letter around, you all can read it.
The well west of town is well, it's a 6 shed, I think.
Yeah, 6-3, I think it was. I can't remember sure. I said we're not out of compliance yet, but we're right at the limit.
Is it 6?
6 and change.
Yeah, pool, we got some bids for the concrete crack at the pool, which most of you have seen already.
If I may interrupt you, along the north side of the pool, inside the fence, but bordering the pool, there's about 40 feet or so of concrete that's buckled up in the middle. And that needs sharp edges protruding where children running around with bare feet might potentially encounter a hazardous situation. So I think you had a bid or two to that sort of feeling, but that's something we need to take action with ASAP.
Although we either need to patch it before the pool starts, tear it out. If we tear it out, we don't know what we're gonna get into with this timber line. So actually, we'd rather wait till after the pool closes before we tear a whole bunch out. Didn't we have more than one bid for that?
One bid to repair and one bid to replace.
One guy.
I have this one from Yahtzee.
Oh,
That's for the driveway. That's for the
We should have had one more.
We got it.
You got it?
Yeah, we got it.
Another thought I had today was, if you don't want to skin coat it, replace the crack or whatever, what would be wrong with just putting mats over the crack to get through the year, so they're not catching their foot on the crack, but they still have the mats over it so they can still walk around through there. That way you wouldn't have to worry about it till after the pool closes anyway.
What kind of mats are you thinking, like the rubber or?
Those.
We have a real long runner down at the shop, 2 others like that, plus there's 3 or 4 back here in the closet, so we wouldn't have a problem with.
And those are ones that we own,
Yeah.
those mats?
Yeah. Would you touch them to keep them from
I
moving
really
around?
think they would lose it, but it's laying flat on the concrete.
Advise the pool staff to watch them and
Yeah, I don't really think they're gonna go anywhere, it's not gonna hurt if they get weather or anything. That's another option that thought I had, if you don't wanna do anything with it, rather than spend the money putting some kind of skin coat on it and then turn it out after the pool closes. That can get you by through the year anyway.
I did talk to the guy that did these, and he said their repair would take about a day to The replacement would take about 4. He said he didn't know if he could do a replacement for the pool.
To replace it.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to do the replacement before the pool opened.
Do we have a date for the opening of the pool?
Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day,
The weekend of,
starting on Friday.
I don't know.
it's Friday or Saturday, I'm not sure.
I think we can back it by then.
So they actually think that, and I would agree that there's something to it. I wouldn't look at it. They think maybe that we have a leak, the skimmers or the pipe is leaking under.
What we think, I mean, we don't know what we'll get into when we tear it up.
It is moving. But also what's the, if we need to get by with the mats. And if we find that the mats aren't working,
Close the pool.
we'll have it done. And do it for guys. By then you may not have time for it. Then you get a second job.
You never figure out how big the truck may be.
You know how to run that backhoe, just start digging in the hard thing.
I was down there the other day and there's lots of cracks all over. Is there any way we can get those filled with that? What I want to say. Not gel, like caulking, rubber caulking.
Parts.
There's a lot of it's just flaking up everywhere.
That's stuff we patched before, that just keeps flaking back out.
It's, I mean, like the rim around the pool, it's really getting in bad shape and there's lots of cracks. It's just pieces coming up here and there.
We did talk about there's a guy that comes out every year and makes sure that the pool's open for fishing game.
There is?
Yeah. I
Well,
don't know
how-
about every
why
year, but
why
I
have
know
we
it's
not
like
had him
that.
in here for the last 2 years talking to him?
Nobody knows how to get a hold of him.
Well, how does he know if it's open then? If nobody talks to him. Huh?
Drive them up.
We just usually just walk around and see if we're operating or.
Is this place roughly? Can't play no one.
He's an independent.
You got play no
Me and
one, no?
Cole. Minnesota's under.
What's your thoughts? You want to patch, you want to replace if we don't have time to do, or try to cover up, sweep it under the rug, cover it up with the rug? Or some sort?
I'd like to patch.
I'll make a motion that we patch the pool for the $1,500 with A. Mays in construction and remodeling.
I'll second.
Okay, I think that, does that involve grinding down the sharp edge a little bit? Getting some-
Says grind down and mortar cracks on the north side. That's what is in the bid.
I'll tell you, get it.
There's a motion before you,
And a second and an
we
argument.
did, and a second. Is it passed?
Yes.
Thank you. Move on, young man.
Okay, we got a new water service we need to hook up at 207 South Main. There's no water in the meter right now, the guy's working on the house, gonna remodel it. He's gonna want water here before long. Do we need to charge him to hook it up, or just hook it up because it was bypassed when he did the project, or what do you wanna do with that?
The meter's there and it was supposed to be.
When they did the water project, they didn't put the meter out
They
the
didn't
back.
hook it up when they put the
They
old water
just back-
project in.
just-
Well, I don't think that should be on him then.
'Cause
Get a little White House itself at 13.
Everybody's lived there for, what, 30, 40 years? No, between Ed and,
Yeah, but he owned that house.
you know,
The what?
some relation to the files.
What's the question? Question of security deposit or what is it?
Whether we want to put in a water service on the city or make him pay for putting in the water service. Or
No meter there now?
Well, there's a meter there, but it's not hooked up.
Not hooked up to the city main?
They didn't hook it up because nobody lived there forever, the way it was planned.
City's got to pay for it.
Hook it up.
Would involve trenching down to the main and
They have to dig up the main and bore across the street. Yeah, this is a little bit of time, but we also got bids for the concrete on the street in front of the new fire station. I don't know if you got them in there or not.
Yeah, from the UC and Son Contracting.
Whatever happened to the one that did the concrete on the first and burn. He said that's a little ahead of the time right now.
is that the one
Could we
from
get-
Gutsy?
Could we get another additional bid to kind of compare prices? That seems high, it might not be, I know concrete is high, but
Yeah,
that's a
we
lot of
really
money.
don't know who we get right off there.
Can we talk to that guy that was there with the building of the, cause he said they would, the city would have to pay for it, but they might be able to.
Yeah, we haven't talked to him, I haven't seen him for a while. So we gotta talk to him.
I think
see
they're
what he-
hiding because the building and stuff wasn't showing up on time, and so I think he's hiding.
Yeah, when we see him, we can get him and see what he thinks.
Or see what cause they're gonna they're erecting the building and then they're laying the concrete. We might need to see what the concrete company that's gonna lay all the concrete for the building and the approach would bid that at. Really, that all ought to be laid as one.
At least her part can be included in it anyway.
Actually, but that's in the city right away.
Yeah, we can see what he has to say. And then,
Let's call that place again. I'll get them a number for the place that did our concrete in the shop. They're going to change his old stuff. Or they took over some of his deal.
That'd be good.
I'll call you with another phone number tomorrow.
you got bids from Nick for the mini split, whatever you decide to do with the windows and everything else. You got them in there? That's for the, any split, depending on what you decide to do, which way you're going with it. And we got one bid from Wendell, which you should have that in there for when we go.
Would that replace this over the radiator then? Is this the item that we were talking about with the windmill guy who was gonna cut a hole in the wall there? And is that what this next bid is?
No.
Where does this go?
Well, it'd be just like the one in the library. You'll have a unit outside and you'll have a unit
This
here.
would be to replace the window unit.
Replace the window air conditioner we usually got in the window.
It will be mounted in the window.
No, it'd be mounted outside.
That's if they decide to go with a big window instead of the three window.
Yeah, it would cut a hole in them underneath, no?
They'll come in through the wood and run their lines in, and the head will be in here, probably on that wall where you talk.
Okay.
You're talking about a different, like a motel deal.
I wasn't around for this one.
That's depends on which way you go on the window.
Yeah, just like what's in the library.
Okay. When we were talking with the window guy, he also proposed fixing the windows and cutting a hole approximately where the radiator is and putting in a unit somewhat like this. Through the hole.
Motel.
But that's not this.
The only other question I got that I can think of right offhand is, we was asked if we could match the dumpster down for the guy that's cleaning up that burnt down house. They wanna know if we can go up in the backhoe and match it down so they can get more in the dumpster.
You have anything that would do that?
Backhoe. Not
Then
really
push
hard.
Arnold down there and push all that in there?
So they pretty well got it full now unless we get it matched down some more or they get some more
A long
in.
way to go.
I'd say no, because you got liability, I mean, if they just look a little bit and cut that into the dumpster or something, and then there's something who's liable for the dumpster. Or you don't know how they got it in there.
Said we didn't wanna do it unless till we run it to you first. That'd be next to somebody bitching about us over and marking it down.
Well, yeah.
You're gonna need to make a dumpster. Right?
I'd say no, but
I say no.
I don't have any.
I say no. Consensus, no.
Consensus is no.
This is the windmill deal is the only bid you guys got? The
We've got,
windmill.
this fellow has a bunch of flyers in the vacant cafe. I happened to pick one up, talked to him, and his wife came up and visited with this. I find it a little bit confusing, but it's, you may have to sort it out. I asked him for two bids, one for this area here, the project in hand, the door and these three windows. And I don't know which option that is, maybe, I don't know if that's
I'll
option
take the
one.
one that's 6 windows.
And I asked him for a second bid to do the windows up high above the front entry doors. The main entrance.
Option 1 it says 6 windows, option 2 is
Well, you have an option 1 and 2 in the text block, and you have an option 1 and 2 in the bottom down there too, so I get a little confused with that. But I think the 6,500 would probably do this job right here.
No. 6,500 for the three windows, plus 5,200 to remove and replace, and 2,000 for the removal of the steel door. So your 6,500, 5,200, and 2,000 adds up to the 13,700.
Okay. So that would not include the,
No.
that would be this job right here. He also has on hand,
And that is, they're gonna cover the top 3 windows and only replace the bottom 3 windows. There won't be the,
we talked about covering them to match up the covered windows, the other windows that are outside that are covered down a couple of feet. He also has, when he ordered windows from Bella at some other time, he received a window that's very similar to these 3 units. And by mistake, it was not something that he ordered. He undertook to send it back to Bella, they told him to keep it. He has an extra window very similar to these that he would donate to this project. I have a picture of it if you want to see it, but they're not as tall as these are, but we're going to cover this top of this anyway. So I don't think that's a problem. They're almost the same width. We're going to have to frame these windows anyway. They're almost the same width. The only difference is they have little lattice work behind the panel to divide the glass up in little individual squares, rather than which we don't have in these windows. And he would donate that door, which would take $1,000 off whichever option we're pursuing. So if we're pursuing option 2 that says 13,700, I think we can get that a little cheaper.
You meant window, not door, right? You said door.
Window. Excuse me, it's a 3-panel window. The door would continue to be a metal door, such as this.
But the window really.
I can show you a picture of the window if you want to see the window.
You said it'd only take $1,000 off?
I'm sorry?
You said it would only take $1,000 off?
Yeah.
If you donate it.
well, I had a kid come out and bid it while I was in there at Firstburg Construction. He bid it, he didn't even want to replace all the wood and stuff, and I said, well, that's not going to work because it's leaking. He bid just to replace the glasses and recover it and reseal it for $14,000. And I have a text message if you guys will see it, but he was at $14,000 to that. He was at $23,000 to replace the whole thing, the way it looks now. I assume this bid is replacing up there where the exit sign and everything above the door to the ceiling.
The window he had. It's the window he had. You see, it's got little subdivisions in the glass. That's the only difference. That's the window he had.
Is that a sliding window though? Is that a slider window?
I don't know. I don't think so. If he has that on hand, he would not have to wait till 2 weeks to order it, or 3 weeks.
One problem I have with those type of windows, those little dividers, they get hot and they get warped and then they fall and then they break. You can't get them out or fixed it or anything. Get that done, it's been around a year. I forget looking at it.
And we did get the $7,500 grant.
Right off the check today.
I make a motion that we do the window and door project in the dining room of option 2 of $13,700 with windmill roofing, remodeling and restoration. Aye.
Okay.
I missed out. What was the question?
They passed it. It's passed for option
Option
2.
two.
Not they, we passed it.
Option 2?
You passed it.
Okay.
The mayor's gonna be here Thursday to line
Hey,
up.
can you give us a second? Speedy. So do you guys want to go ahead and just put the window unit back in, or do you guys want to look at the heat pump option while we're
Is that open for the window unit?
Well,
Is it a fixed window?
If
Is
we're
it a
doing-
slide window?
well, option 2 is the 3 windows. What we passed is the 3 windows.
Right.
Or was she asking, will the window open to put a window
I don't
area?
know. Yeah, that's that. Oh boy.
Oh,
We'll go for these before we have to
Hmm.
replace one of them air conditioners.
I will mention again that he was telling us how wonderful his shop is, as he cut a hole in the bottom and put in a HVAC unit.
We're not doing that, mate. You ripped them.
It cost about an extra $1,000 to cut the hole and plus then installing the HVAC unit with the plus or he thought it was wonderful and would replace that heater and run air conditioning.
Did you tell them it's easy to replace that heater because it ain't been in use for 20 years?
I don't know what I told him. I told him we weren't going to use that. We might replace that heater or we might replace the window air conditioner unit, which caused some problems in the first place.
I make a motion that we install a heat pump unit in the dining room area in the price of $4,580 with extra.
Second?
All right.
Aye.
Nay.
Did that pass?
Nope, it's time.
Do we install the, and where does it go, in the wall here?
Do you want to go see what it is so you know what you have to
Where does it go, in this wall?
They, yeah, it probably would be on this wall. They install that little thing that's sitting out front, and then they put a couple lines coming in, and then they put this little head unit that blows the heat or the air.
How much damage is it? How much of a hole do you have to do with the wall? Just so much to get the lines through?
Yeah. I'll just get like a one inch line.
I'll approve it all, but yes, so then.
Put it over there and it runs the lines across the building. Yeah.
It says on the quote that it can mount on the wall.
Yeah, it can be mounted on the wall.
It says in the quote that it can be
But
mounted.
you have to
on the
remember
wall.
there's a sidewalk there.
It could be mounted up on the
Building
building.
mounted up on the building.
Maybe about 5 feet high, so you can.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Either way, you want to put it on the ground like a library or mount it up on the side of the building.
Okay, we have approval of the bid from Eck for the smaller unit at $4,500. No, that's the larger unit at $4,500. Is that correct? Okay, we have approval.
Well, one was for this room and one was for the office.
Yeah. We have approval for, from the Windmill Group, also for construction over here for $13,711. Okay. What is next on the agenda? We still have to talk about audits.
No, we must go talk.
You're still in business.
Like I said, the mayor's supposed to be here Thursday to line that block between Duncan and Price, north of Nebraska and Alexander. And we left them if they give us a bid for cutting the tap out just upstream from that block. So they sent us a bid to cut the tap out that's sticking down the main sewer. I don't know if you got that in there or not. Seems a little high to me.
What's the tap for?
Private sewer line stuck too far down in the sewer main. It's for a third house.
One
nephew.
Well, technically, if
Because
the private person stuck a sewer line too far down, doesn't that person have to pay for it?
I don't know who started down in there, but I know we can't get a camera by it. So the camera so far, they have to go the other end and camera back to it. We thought we'd have them cut it out while they're here, it's gonna be cutting taps out anyway. That's what they give us for the quote.
Kind of put a,
That's-
I'm gonna pay half of it at least.
I don't know when the damage is done, so.
that's just to do what, that's,
311 North Main, tap right out.
Thank you, sir.
we've already approved that, haven't we not? Mayor?
Mayor, the finding has already been approved,
Yeah.
but this hasn't been approved. If you want to do it or skip it or whatever you want to do.
So it was found when? I mean, I guess I must not have been paying attention.
I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago when they did that section of town,
It,
they
it
found
was,
it.
yeah, about 2 to 3 years ago when they went through there and they found that we brought it up then about it. And we decided we wasn't gonna dig it up or
Can't
cut.
get the camera. It ain't a very good picture.
That's some property.
It shows cutting 2 taps on that bid, but I don't believe that we've just got one. If you look at the measurements on it,
Look more like it's past the main source of city's problem.
I don't even know what I'm looking at, so.
the pipe is sticking too far into that 8-inch main to get a camera to go by. It isn't stopping anything from working.
It's not keeping anything from working, but we just thought maybe over here we had to cut it out.
But I wasn't expecting $1,250 to cut that one piece of pipe.
What do you think you'd have in it just to dig it out and
Well, we could probably, I don't know, we'd have all day for sure in there. We gotta take their sewer line apart, pull it apart. And there it goes again. I mean, right there, we're lucky enough we got a little more room to pile dirt, but
Said it's not hurting anything really except for you just can't get a camera down through there.
So what's that top picture of?
It's another one they claim that needs cut out.
what's this part of the picture?
that's one of them they claim that that's the other part that needed cut out. This is showing down through the main, their line. This one's sticking down in the main.
Which, you know which properties, there's 2 different properties, right?
Well, I don't believe so. We haven't sat there and measured it because if you measure from one manhole, it says 157 foot to it, and the other one from the other direction, 88, where those manholes are, I think they're talking about the same
Same.
town.
Oh, so it's from 2 different ways.
It's 2 different directions. So the bid would be $1,250 to cut that one off while they're here.
1250 is a lot different than 3,000.
You know, like I said, when you did that 2 or 3 years ago, the only thing I remember is that pipe sticking through there. But they had to pull the camera back, go around the other end of the block, and camera back the other way, so they couldn't get by it. Said it's not really hurting anything outside of that, but we just thought maybe it was here, got that manhole, that they could run up there and cut that out and be done with it, but. And they can for $1,250, I guess.
I heard the property was paying half of it.
I don't think the property when we put that in there, so. It must
in that area while they're here.
So that bid was 3,000?
$1,250 for one. 3,000 for two.
They had it bid to do two separate things, everything thinks it's the same one.
Yeah, we think it's the same,
That when they went from each way, if you go measure it, it's the same
Saying that
same
probably
thing,
only
it's just.
be at 6 1/4.
Right, right. Put it on the taxes.
if you're interested, if you're not, let's go like this.
Would you say you made a motion for another taxes?
I'm going to abstain anyway, so you got to decide.
Is there a motion? Hearing no motion, I'm gonna move on.
I think we have a consensus to just leave it for now.
Leave it for now.
Yeah.
That's consensus. Okay, we'll move on.
Forget anything?
Thank you.
That's all we got, I guess.
What are these two? I'm confused. These two items.
Those is another bid for doing that driveway. That was $12,000. We buy the concrete, and Policio, the guy that helped us on First Street, would charge $10,000 labor. So that bid would be $22,000 whatever. We'd add another $10,000 to that bid. But you can see it's 180. That was bid in fiber concrete for the weight of the fire truck.
So they come out about the same.
Yeah, come out about the same.
The same. That's the front of the fire station.
Front of the fire station, 135
This
foot.
is the whole distance of the fire station, that 126
All right,
foot.
thank you.
It's the whole distance from the curb to the county blacktop to the new blacktop. Because the city's got to replace it or rock it, or because the county is not doing it. County road department's not doing it, and the county, what's the management is not doing it. No, the section between the curb and the new asphalt is city.
Questions for the maintenance crew? Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to audience comments. Do you have comments?
Yes, I do. I want to thank each and every one of you for the outplay. I'm happy to say that Little Street has come way down.
Really? Good.
I mean, the guy took the signs up, and it's actually nice to go outside and not see speeding cars. Now, if we could just get the kids to quit leaving their toys in the road, we'd be okay.
The sheriff department is looking to talk to them.
Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying, thank you from the bottom of my heart for the signs, because little kids don't look. But it has slowed way down, so it does matter.
No.
So thank you.
Sir, did you have comments for us?
No.
Okay. Did you have a comment, Mr. Merryman?
I do, actually. I'm just wondering when the roads are going to be taken care of. I mean, obviously, we're in spring. I personally got my motorcycle out, and there's some damn holes in these roads, especially the blacktop ones, the dirt roads, that dang near swallow my bike hole.
You want them sprayed for
No, I want them patched.
patch?
On Main Street, there's 2 or 3 potholes on the blacktop that's pretty bad. And the dirt road right by my house, I don't know who rutted it, but there was a rut probably a good 3 inches deep right by my house.
There's a guy driving around in a teal Chevy, lifted. I think he's moving across, like he lives right over here. He's moving from this side of the street to this side of the street. But he's been just hauling ass down our street.
Yeah, you seen that rut I'm talking about? It's like that freaking
I
deep.
saw him dig it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, if my tire, either one of my bike and motorcycle tires get in that rut, my bike's going down.
We will take a look at it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Moving on, unfinished business, storage and windows and audit. We've done the doors and the windows. We still have the issue of an audit for us. I think we had a bid somewhere. I think you should have something before you that says accounting services, it might look like that. Kayla, are you in a position to explain this to us?
I mean, it's just the person I presented before. I've talked to several auditors. I really landed on just one because I did talk to another one that Danny had suggested, but it's like 20 to 23,000 for that for a year.
Per month or per year?
Yeah, for a year. So the only one I have been able to be consistent with is Skyway out of Gallup.
And the other one that was out of like Lawrence, they replied and said we were too small.
The one that I did find in Manhattan said that they all were big cities. So Scott Lloyd's about the only option we have, and he's 10,000 a
You
year.
just gotta, when you tell them how big we are, start looking at times 10 behind our population number.
Well,
It's not rolling, so. And he said he could help with some other things, just because of the audit, correct?
yeah, so he does, I mean, they're kind of an all-inclusive. They do budget and stuff like that as well. Kind of like in here, or in like the original email, he said they're completing our budget would be 2,500. But yeah, their minimum audit price is 10,000. But he's highly recommended by literally everyone I talked to. Like even the one auditors that I talked to that said they couldn't do it, they recommended him. But he's about the only option I found.
I think all the people in Pratt twice promised to get back to him both times and never did. That's who you recommended for.
No, there's a firm out west that did one for another city I represent. I think they would double what he was.
I think we really, really, really need to do something.
Well, not only that, they need the help when they have questions.
What year are you going to audit? What year are you going to audit?
I think we gotta go back to the last year for which we had an audit, which was 21.
20 was the last one.
Yes, so I think we have to start with 22.
I will say,
Is that
Well-
consistent with your thinking?
2020 was the last audit that was
So then we
done.
have to start with 21.
Right.
22, 23, 24, we're gonna do all of them. And I think you're gonna have to start with 21, because that's the, you can base that on the closing balance from 2020, which is the last official balance we had.
What did this Scott Wood think? Where did he think we need to start?
so I didn't grab the email, but he has said that he has done audits in the past. However, state law says if your gross receipts are over 500,000, you are required to have an audit. And our gross receipts until last year have not been over that. Last year was the first year was over 500,000. So we are legally required that we have to have one. According, yeah. But he says, like, he has done past audits for people before. It's just, his minimum is 10,000.
Does he break it up in like 10,000 a year, or is it like he just starts at 10,000?
No, his minimum is a year, like 10,000 a year.
Didn't we start with 24? I just feel like he has to go back.
I think his plan was to do 24, but I kind of just asked, like, would you do past ones? And he said he has done it for other
If he's content doing 24 or 23 and 24 only and starting then, that's fine with me, but we've had this ongoing question about where to start and what the correct balance, the official balance would be that he's going to start with.
That's the big thing. I think if we hire him to do the audit and also use him to help do the budget, he'll get us that starting number.
But we have someone else doing the budget.
Remembering we have a 4-year contract with somebody else to do the budget.
And he's not answering the questions and stuff that we need. That might be a loss of $400 a year for 4 years. Which we're 1 year out of that already, so 3 years.
Which I don't know if you want to glance this, because he said that AUP is around 5,000, and he kind of puts in there what that is exactly. I did not fully comprehend what it was.
We need somebody that can help us figure out where we are at the end of the year, how much money we're carrying over from year to year, so we can disperse some of that to get some funds built, so we can start building funds for lagoons and. The guy in Oklahoma is not what we need. And then the person that wants to represent him and everything, then quits after.
Because like I said, I know for sure we have to do last year, 90%, because of the gross receipts.
I think we ought to start with last year's and then see if he thinks we need to go back and, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Will there be a motion forthcoming?
I guess if you need me to, have me come out and talk about it more, because I mean, it does say his minimum fee, so I don't know if you want to just go off of this or.
We can have him come out and talk to us, but then, once again, that's another month out, so.
And then in a month, how does that fall? Because it's likely close to being harvest. And looks like to be pressed on time next month. I likely won't be here. Yeah, I may not be here, depending on his boss. In July, I will likely be on a rodeo deal.
Can I ask you a question? Is that okay? I was just wondering, Brenda, since you're the treasurer, like, do you see a reason to go farther back than the? You've been going through the books, I know.
2020 was my last year that they audited.
Okay.
I didn't do 21, 22, 23. I only did part of 24, a couple months of it.
Okay.
So I don't know what happened in those years.
Okay.
So could we approve to do 2024 and he's got questions or we think we need to go back farther, then we have a meeting?
Or we can call and ask questions at a special meeting.
And then if we find something in 2023 that upsets the balance going into 2024, then we have to correct 2024 to the extent needed. Or 2022 or 2021. I would like to see us get started. I would like to see a motion to do something here, gang.
Well, I'd like to see it because next month, July, is when we should be doing our budget for, so we need to start knowing where we're at on some of this before we have a budget meeting. That's why I think we should at least approve to do 2024, so you guys can start getting stuff over to him, and if he finds that there's a reason that we've got to go back farther, let's get it. And we can work on budgeting for this.
So, sorry, out of those three things, so which one did you think, because it says determine the entity, the all funds audit, the agreed upon procedures, or utility fund audit?
It wouldn't be the utilities, it would be the, I think it's probably not the utilities, the agreed upon procedures for the other one.
The all funds audit?
I think so.
I just want to make sure I have the right one possible. Yeah, so that's this agreed upon procedure down here. But, Danny doesn't think that's what I'm doing here. It'd be this all funds, well, he's okay, but the all funds laws. Cause our grocery sheets exceeded the 500,000.
But yeah, I think once, the way the statute's written, once you cross 500,000, years and years, it's a full audit line if you're under that.
I make a motion, we hired, Scott Boyd, or the Boyd Group, to do the audit for 24 for $10,000.
Second.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there other business to come before us? I have one comment from the governing body, or for the governing body. As of late afternoon on Friday, Ms. Michaela will be a graduate to Pratt Community College. Assuming she passes, you don't know yet if it passed this semester.
But I'm pretty sure I will.
You're pretty sure you will? I've been taking a couple classes this semester and I will finish out an associate's degree, so it's good for her. Flowers and graduation cards will be in there. Is there any other business to come before us? Likewise, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second that.
Thanks.
Who was that?